Let's talk about power, politics, and the Democratic Party. So one of the bigger news stories from this week has been Graham Platner, who was running for Senate in Maine. He dropped out of the race this week after being credibly accused of sexual assault and essentially rape by one of his former partners. It's been a big story that caused him to get out the race entirely. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Platner kind of came out of nowhere. He's never run for political office. He was an oyster farmer, former kind of mercenary veteran person adjacent, but this isn't his first political scandal in his now over career. Now, these scandals include things like having a Nazi tattoo that he later covered up after, the media kind of focused on it. This also includes a lot of Reddit posts that were very homophobic, very racist, and also some other reports that kind of detail some really sketchy behavior towards women. Now, I'm going to play a piece of Graham Platner's release video that he announced where he was dropping out of the race, and I clipped one part that I think is really interesting and telling for the future.
We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power.
Now, I showcase that video because I think one thing that Platner and I think the broader kind of Democratic Party, certain people in the media space have really lacked is accountability. And now, most importantly, this accountability falls directly on Platner first and foremost. He was accused of rape, and that's on him. No one's forcing him to drop out, but his actions led to that, and that's something that only he can own. But also that accountability also extends to the bigwigs in the Democratic Party, but also kind of the political media space, whether it's podcasters or personalities, who I think are really itching and scratching for a kind of rugged presenting white male or the Joe Rogan of the left, and have kind of been willing to brush off all these other issues, specifically involving Platner, that I think is going to be a really telling sign as we gear up for 2028. Now, make no mistake about it, the person who is most supportive of the Democratic Party looks like me, or increasingly, my wife. And I think there's a really burgeoning tension that I think has to do with, the bigwigs in the Democratic Party looking for someone that is not actually representing of the voters who are most supportive of them. Now, maybe I'm crazy, that might just be my take, but what do you think about Platner, him dropping out? I certainly think he should drop out, but what do you think overall about in terms of what electability means? And I think how Graham Platner is a pretty good example of, some of the fights that I think we're going to see in the years ahead.